Hello, everybody out there in the vinyl community. How are we doing today? Hope you guys are all having a wonderful day out here in the beautiful city of Clarksville, Tennessee. It is nice and gloomy and raining, so I thought, what a better time than to sit down and do a little recording video. My life has been fairly interesting recently. I just went and saw Static X and Dope and Seven Dust a couple days ago. It was a really good show. A couple weeks before that, I did get to go see Pantera and Lamb of God out in Nashville. So it's been a good couple weeks. Hadn't been to a concert in a while, and I've had two in the last 2 weeks. So that's been a good time. I've been listening to records, of course, as I normally do on a daily basis. And I thought today, I'd sit down and we'd talk about some records that are in my collection and see what you guys think of it all. Today's subject, I'm going to talk about compilation albums. I like compilation albums especially like with the first couple of examples I'm going to show here, when it's a band that I kind of like, but I don't want to buy a whole bunch of their records. And if you can find a compilation that has all of their hits on it, and then you don't have to spend a bunch of money on it. So that's why I kind of like that. And some of these will be greatest hits type things that have come out from bands that I love. And of course, you're going to pick those up because they're from bands that you love or whatever. So one of them is technically a soundtrack, but to me, it's still just a compilation record of a bunch of different things. So my first one I want to talk about, and this is one of those bands that, I don't mind hearing or whatever, but I've never been a huge fan, and that is this Nirvana album right here. This is from 2015. There's your track listing right there. You can see it's all got all the radio hits on it. That's why I bought it. I don't want to buy all the Nirvana albums. I've never been that big of a fan. And honestly, when I bought this, even with all these killer songs on it, I've only listened to it one time. I found it at Walmart. It was $20 or whatever. It wasn't a bad price, or don't regret buying it, of course. It sounds pretty good. The pressing is pretty decent. There's no problem with it, and it's just got those songs. And then I don't have to sit there and buy Bleach and Smells Like Teen Spirit or Nevermind or whatever the hell it was called, because I'm not that big of a fan anyway. So that's one of them that I have here. The next one's the same thing. It's a band that actually I think is probably better than I thought. Honestly, I was never a huge fan of this band, but I saw this at Walmart again. This is another Walmart buy. These first couple are all Walmart buys. And that is this. And this isn't like a Walmart exclusive or anything like that. I've seen it at the record store. I just happened to buy this at Walmart. There's a track listing that's on there. All those songs are really good. And as I listened to this record, I realized, hey, they're way better than I thought. So I will definitely be buying more Poison. But like I said, I was never that huge of a fan. And check this out. The record itself, I'm going to pull this out of the sleeve. It's a really cool pressing. It looks pretty freaking awesome. I love this black and red. And I opened it. I was pleasantly surprised by how nice that looks. For especially something I bought at Walmart, I didn't expect a whole lot. Here's the back. The thing that really got me on this is this front cover right here. Of course, this is Poison as they look now, but Bret Michaels doesn't look like that right now. Come on, man. If you're going to Photoshop a front cover to make Bret Michaels look like he did when he was 20 years old, but everybody else still looks like they're in their 50s, I mean, in the back, he looks like that. That looks more realistic, I would say, of what he looks like now, But yeah, come on. You mean to tell me Bret Michaels still has abs like that? I don't think so. But, who am I to judge, I guess. But it's a pretty good album. I like it. It's got like I said, the track listing has got all their hits on it. They actually rock a lot better than I remember or whatever. I was never a huge fan of Poison growing up. Poison was that band, too glammy for me, too glam looking. I always felt that CC DeVille was an overrated guitarist, and I still kind of do. But after listening to that, I think I'll buy a couple of those early Poison albums and, really give them a chance to listen to them. All right, another Walmart album that I bought is this one here. I've shown this before on a previous episode. This, of course, Rat was one of my favorite bands of the era. I don't know if you can really see that or not. There's your track listing: Round and Round, One a Man, Lack of Communication, Back for More, Lay It Down, You're in Love, Slip of the Lip, Way Cool Jr., I Want a Woman, and Giving Yourself Away. I mean, those are fucking killer tracks, And this is a really good record. It really is. When I bought it, though, I was a little, I think I pointed this out before. See that nice crease? That's how it was at the Walmart when I got it, because Walmart doesn't take care of their records at all. They're just jammed in the shelves, and it's all, they get bent and everything else. That's something you have. But I only gave, I didn't give a whole lot for it, maybe $20. Nice clear red vinyl. It's pretty cool looking. It's a great compilation album, greatest hits album or whatever. It's called Now Playing is the name of it. Whether this is official Rat merchandise or not, I don't know. Or if it's a contract with a record company or whatever. But it's good. It's got all those hits on it. It's really a good record. Of course, I love Rat, and I'll listen to Rat anytime. Their early albums or all their albums I thought were tremendous. Every single one of them. Well, I stopped listening after, Reach for the Sky and Detonator and stuff. I know they have a couple records after that, but I've never really heard much off of that at all. But that's a good one to put on to hear what their career spanning sound looks like. I know, not professional of me to take a drink while recording, but I'm not a professional. I'm just a guy who likes records, right? Same with you guys here, right? We all just love records, and we're just sitting here talking about music. Here's another one. This is one of the ones I found in the dumpster that day. This is from 1980. It's called Guitar Heroes. It's got Boston and, REO Speedwagon, Molly Hatchet, Johnny Winter, Rick Derringer, Cheap Trick, Russ Ballard, and the Charlie Daniels Band, which is weird to me. There's your track listing right there. They're not even really like the big hits. Rock and Roll Band is a pretty decent hit from Boston. Keep Pushing from REO. Molly Hatchet, Gator Country Live. Johnny Winter, Highway 61 Revisited. Rick Derringer, Time Warp. Side 2's got Cheap Trick, Daddy Should Have Stayed in High School. Russ Ballard, Cast the Spirit, and Charlie Daniels Band, Saddle Tramp. Those are not the hits those bands are known for, really. They're really not the big hits those bands are known for. To me, it's a weird compilation, but it's, Guitar Heroes, I guess you'd say. This is, like I said, it's from 1980, and hell, Epic Records. So probably Epic just taking some stuff, mixing stuff together, and calling it good. It's decent. Something cool to listen to if you want to hear that era of music. It's a fairly decent record. This one here is another one from, I'm not even sure the record company off the top of my head at this moment. It is called The Rock Machine Turns You On. Or The Rock Machine Still Turns You On. This one says Volume 1 on the front. You flip to the back cover, Volume 2. This is a gatefold. It's put together really well. It's really kind of cool. Pictures of the albums and stuff on the bands, and it's pretty good. Double record. It's got some stuff on here that I wouldn't know, but Judas Priest, The Electric Eye, Aldo Nova's Hot Love, Juggernaut from Frank Marino, Sammy Hagar's 3 Light Box, The Buzz, Molly Hatchet's on here, Fast Away, Easy Living, side 3 and 4, Neil Sean, band called Moving Pictures, Loverboy, Lucky Ones, Aerosmith, Cry Me a River, Trust is on here. Bands I'd never heard of: Fort Knox, Minglewood, Lady Gowan. I don't know who those people are. I don't know if this sounds any good. I've never listened to it, but as I was thinking about compilations, I started flipping through, and I pulled it out because it is a compilation. I will play it sooner or later and let you know. it was another one that was found in that find, that like the last record with the dumpsters, along with this next one. And this next one was actually really, really good, even though it's not my style. It's called Scandinavian Metal Attack. It's from 1984. It says it's a European press. It's from Europe, which is weird when they write down countries. They just write down Europe on there instead of, you go to Discogs, it says it's from Europe instead of the actual country. RCA Records. It's got this cool cover on it. You got your goat, and you got, Thor or Odin or whoever. It's got Bathory and stuff. This is more of that Scandinavian death metal sound to it. There's your track listing. Sorry about the glare. So Oz, Fire in the Brain, Trash, Watch Out, Bathory, Sacrifice, Septifier, Eyes of a Storm, 09 Under the Sun, more 09 Oz, Bathory on side 2. I didn't know any of this music because I don't usually listen to this type of music, but I have played this record and it's pressed very well. And it sounds pretty good. Like I said, I've never really a big, huge fan of that Scandinavian death metal stuff, but as I get older, I've kind of gotten more into some of the death metal, heavier music as time goes on. At the same time as I've gotten into new wave and 80s pop music, at the same time, I've kind of gotten into some heavier stuff like mayhem and death and things like that. And this, kind of fits that genre, and it's cool. It's a cool sound. This was another one that was found when I had that dumpster find that I talk about constantly, it seems like. What was weird about this is it doesn't seem to fit the genre of Mike, who's the person who had that collection that I found. All of his stuff was mostly 70s rock, Sabbath, Zeppelin, Kiss and Ozzy and things like that. And that Scandinavian metal seemed way out of his genre. So I don't know why he had it or whatever, but I'm glad I've got it. It's pretty cool. It's a good listen without having to go through and, buy albums from bands like Bathory and stuff that I'm not usually very interested in. So, but it's cool. Now my next one, technically a soundtrack. This one was also found that day in the dumpster. Soundtrack to Heavy Metal, Japanese pressing, obviously. This comes out in 1981. It's gatefold. It's got pictures from the movie on it, This is really cool. I mean, I really think this is awesome. It's got this cool gatefold. If you look right there in the center, you can see how stiff and new it still is. It's like it's brand new. It still has the inner sleeves. It's got all the stuff in it. There's the Japanese inserts. They always have these little inserts with things on them, and it's all in here. Everything's in here. The record sounds really, really good. This is a really cool record. Black Sabbath, Mob Rules, Blue Oyster Cult, Cheap Trick, Devo, Donald Fagen, Don Felder, Grand Funk Railroad, Sammy Hagar, Journey, Nazareth, Stevie Nicks, Riggs, Trust. I mean, this is a fucking great album. This was a cool movie. As a child of the 80s, like I said, this movie came out in 1981. It being called heavy metal, having these, cool cartoons and everything else, the cool animations and stuff. That's a great record. Being a child of the 80s and coming of age of the 80s, we watched heavy metal all the time, get a copy on VHS and you'd spend the weekend and you'd be hanging with your buddies, smoking pot or whatever, and you'd pop in heavy metal and watch it, and the guys snorting the giant lines of Coke and everything else. We just thought it was awesome, Of course we did. We were just a bunch of 80s stoners and the music was great. It was, that pre-heavy metal, it was not pre-heavy metal, but it's heavy metal enough. It wasn't what we were listening to. Of course, it was the mid-'80s when I was in high school and we were listening to hair metal and stuff like that. So this was like older music, I guess you would say at the time, but still kick-ass. Kick-ass soundtrack, great compilation record. It looks awesome. It sounds great. These Japanese pressings are always awesome every single time. You know how that is. My next one's another greatest hits one that I've heard thousands of times. Let Of course, you know I'm a Kiss fan. All you got to do is look around the back of the room and you can see I'm a Kiss fan. This is Kiss Double Platinum, Japanese pressing. This album came out in 1978. This is another one that I had found in the dumpster. I have another copy of this that I've had since high school, but I decided to show this one because it is way cooler looking. It's super shiny. It looks really, really nice. The Japanese ones, this double platinum, how it's written in red. Mine is not written in red. Mine is written in black. It's got the embossed logo on it. My cut, and then you've got the inside looks like this. It's got this saying, I'm not moving that Obi strip, but it shows you the songs on there. These are great Kiss hits that were, I guess, technically re-recorded, because like Strutter 78 sounds different than Strutter. I don't know if they re-recorded all these songs, but some of these songs are re-recorded and remixed or whatever. And side 3 starts with the rock bottom intro and cuts into, well, it says it cuts into Deuce on here according to that, but that is not correct at all, because it says rock bottom intro cuts into Deuce. Same here on the inside. Rock bottom goes into Deuce. Rock bottom technically goes into She, which is on that side. So it's misprinted as the track order. They're all that way. My original version that I've had since I was, 12 years old or whatever is the same way. It says it rock bottom intro, then it says Deuce on the track listing. But when you play the record, rock bottom cuts into She. So that's, and that's a cool record. And as a Kiss fan, I've always loved that. What's nice about that is it came out after all the classic Kiss stuff from the early 70s. It came out after the solo albums and before they started doing Dynasty and Unmasked, and the cracks were showing with the band, although the public didn't really know that at the time. And they put this out there, and it basically encompasses all that those first 6 studio albums. It encompasses all that music. It's got songs from all those records, and it's a greatest hits album of early 70s Kiss. It really is. And Kiss is famous for putting out greatest hits albums. There's a bunch of them out there, but to me, that one's the big one. Later on, they did You Wanted the Best, and then they did all these other ones in the 90s, just trying to fill space, I guess, or pay off the record company or whatever they were doing. That's a really good record with all that early 70s Kiss. So if you like that stuff, but you don't want to buy a bunch of Kiss albums, just buy Double Platinum and you'll hear all the hits of all of the records from the first one all the way through their 6th studio album. And that's all on Double Platinum. Some of it, like I said, is remixed, a little bit slightly different or whatever, but it still has all those songs that you guys would know. And as a Kiss fan, you would know. So, all right. So one more for you guys today. This is another one of my favorite compilations albums, Black Sabbath, We Sold Our Soul for Rock and Roll, 1980, Japanese pressing. This one is really cool. This was another one that was found in that dumpster find. It's got all this printing on the inside. Instead of having the insert like the Japanese records have with everything in Japanese and everything over in English, it's printed on the inside. I don't know about the American version or other versions of this record because I've never had this on vinyl before until I found this one. But it's still got crisp, clean edges, and it sounds wonderful. It really does. Japanese pressings always do. We Sold Our Soul for Rock and Roll was one of those albums I had on cassette as a teenager, but I felt like it was cursed. I got stories about that. I probably had 4 different copies on cassette as a teenager, and it was one of those cassette tapes, and you know how cassettes were back in the day, and there were so many songs on this. By the way, the track listing on this album is killer. Black Sabbath, Wizard, The Warning, Paranoid, War Pigs, Iron Man, Wicked World, Tomorrow's Dream, Fairies Wear Boots, Changes, Sweet Leaf, Children of the Grave, Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, Am I Going Insane, Laguna Sunrise, Snowblind, and NIB. So the tape was huge. You'd have the tape, it was on one cassette, and it would take up like half of the window or over half of the window of tape. So after a while, because it was so heavy, it would get wore out, and then it would get ate and shoot up. So I'd have to go buy another one. And then my second one, the same thing happened. After a while playing it forever, because we played we played this album all the time when I was younger, and that one got wore out and stretched out and sounded like shit or whatever. So I bought a third copy, my third copy of We Sold Our Soul for Rock and Roll. And as I'm literally like the next day with my third copy of that cassette tape, I'm getting out of my car, walking in, drop it, lands in the gutter, in a puddle of water because it was raining and the gutter was running with water, and totally ruined it after I hadn't even played it yet. I bought my third copy. I was like, God damn, this album is fucking cursed, man. I've owned 3 copies of this. Then CDs came out, so I bought it on CD. Never happened again. I'll never, this would be the last one I ever have to buy. Bought it on CD. And it was fine. It didn't get destroyed, but I was disappointed with the CD. For some reason on the CD, they couldn't fit it all. So you had to buy a super single because they took the warning off, and then they put, I think they put Laguna Sunrise or something on the other side of the single. So basically it didn't have the warning on here. And the warning is a killer song, I get it. It's like 12 minutes long or whatever, but it's got all that cool guitar solo from Tony Iommi, everything else. I was super disappointed with the CD. I still have my CD over there, never play it at all, of course, So yeah, that's my story with We Sold Our Soul for Rock and Roll. But this is a great record. This has all those great songs on it that I just mentioned. This Japanese pressing sounds wonderful. It looks wonderful. This is the kind of stuff that was found that day in the dumpster. And, the fact that I still blown away that I got all those records that somebody had thrown away. So those are some of my favorite compilations. I had others over here I'd thought about throwing in. A couple other greatest hits ones and stuff, I had one here. Let's see, I'll pull it up anyway. I don't know if this is considered a compilation album. Hearing Aid. It's got a bunch of different bands on it. It's got a brand new song. I don't know if you consider it a compilation. Everybody was, it's got Kiss and different things on there. So I guess technically it's a compilation album other than the song We Are Stars. This is, this was great, iconic stuff for children of the 80s to get all our favorite metal bands together to raise money for famine relief or whatever. And I just bought this. This is original pressing. They've never repressed this. I just bought this like a year ago. I had it out like, oh, it's a compilation. But then I'm like, it's not really a compilation. So I have this one too. There's a couple more over there, but nothing I'd really listen to. Of course, I have a whole bunch of country compilations because people keep giving me country music and I don't usually listen to it. I've got like 5 or 6 of those 1970s greatest country hits and things like that, but I wasn't going to bore you guys with that because I get bored. I actually listened to one a couple weeks ago and I was like, thank God this album's only like 35 minutes long. I don't know what it is. I just can't get into country music. I've tried. My wife loves it. I try listening to it. I just can't get into it. So, but yeah, so those are some of my favorite compilation albums that I have that I like to spin. What do you guys have? What do you guys think? I really appreciate you all watching me on here. And Francis, the person who I don't know personally, but you comment on my videos every single week. I really appreciate you out there. You kind of keep me going sometimes. I know I don't get a shit ton of views or whatever, but I enjoy what I'm doing, and knowing that you're watching and I've got friends that watch or whatever makes it kind of worth taking my time and doing this. The vinyl community, all you guys out there who are doing the same thing I'm doing, I hope you guys are all having great and wonderful days. Go out, hit your local record store. If you don't have one, I'm sorry. I was talking to my buddy who lives in California yesterday, and I was telling him, what I picked up at the record store for the last couple of weeks, and he was like, I ain't got shit like that in my neighborhood. I got one small record store. They never have anything. I have to order all my stuff from Amazon or Discogs or whatever. So I'm glad to have a nice local record store. I hope you guys all have good local record stores wherever you guys are at too. All right. Well, that's it for me. Like I said, thanks for watching. If you like it, go ahead and like and share. Hit that button at the bottom. Subscribe to my channel. help me out a little bit here. You don't really have to do that because I'm going to continue to do this even if nobody watches. I do this more for me than anybody else, but I really do appreciate all you guys watching. All right, thanks. That's it for me. I'll talk to you guys in a few days or in a week or so or whatever. You guys all have a great one out there and just keep on spinning those records.